Hello and welcome to MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP fans come to congregate and fanboys fear to tread. Hello all, we missed you.
Yes. Life gets in the way at times, but it is good to be back. It is good to be back. And well, Jakey Poo, what did you think of that race?
It's everybody. I'll tell you what. There's a lot of people loving it because it's not gonna. Mark Marquez has his hands full this season. It looks like that
Mm.
is that Aprilia is strong, and he's doing well.
Well, it's not just the Aprilia is strong. The Aprilia factory riders both are strong. Do you know what
Yes,
I mean? Like they're 1-2 in the championship. They took 1-2 last weekend's race in Thailand. They took 1-2 today. Martin winning the sprint race this weekend. And now look, I always say this. You never really can tell until we get to Jerez what goes on. But like with the tire in Thailand and Brazil and all of this, it's like it was the heat treated tire, which is funnily that people call the anti-Marquez tire, that it doesn't suit the Ducati. Here we were running the normal tire, and like I tell you, look, it should have been an Aprilia 123. Agora should have, like, if he finished, he was definitely on the podium. No matter, I don't care what anyone says, he was. There was only one way he was going. It was crash or podium, and the bike gave up on him. But um, yeah, for me, and I kind of said this in the video. I really enjoyed the race. I was a little underwhelmed with Marquez because I suppose I had a higher expectation of what he was going to do, right? And
I,
it
I
showed.
thought I thought he was going to cut it back this race. I thought he was going to when he said he was going to have make it a survival race. I didn't think he was going to go do that well.
Yeah, but like for me, when I looked at it, right, I looked at like Mark around there, right? He can pull in one or two really quick laps. So I was like, okay, he's practicing the long lap, right? It's about 3 seconds. I was like, you know, he should finish maybe 2 seconds off the lead. That's where I had him, but he didn't really come alive. Do you know what I mean? Like I think Pecco fell away. Do you know what I mean? But like I think Mark ended up like 8 seconds behind the race leaders. Do you know what I mean? Now a lot of that would have been definitely 2 or 3 seconds of that would have been battling with Bastianini that he lost it. But I don't know. I suppose I had a higher expectation of Mark around Kota. Do you know what I mean?
He couldn't be if it's true, and Mark said that the 2026 Ducati is a disaster. It could be in his head too.
It could be. It could be. It could be his shoulder too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that it is not right. But look, I suppose look, just from the track history of Mark Marquez around Kota, it's a little bit underwhelmed by
Yeah.
it. But then saying that, completely blown away by Bisecki and Martin, like fucking really aggressive. Like, do you know what I mean? Like really aggressive. Pedro Costa, I thought rode really good, really solid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
Um, it's a funny question now, right? Because everyone is saying that Acosta is going to Ducati next year.
Hmm.
Would you want to be on a Ducati? You're
Yeah.
consistently you're consistently beating Ducatis on your KTM right now.
I think he's outriding them. I think he's just
I
having
mean,
a
he
he's just
is,
having
but
a good ride. I think on that.
yeah,
But look
but like
at the
that's
other
that's what I
KTM
mean.
set the world on fire.
Like, but no Ducati on the podium again this weekend.
Yeah, but no, yeah, but the only KTM is Pedro
Is him?
Acosta. I think he's just riding it.
Yeah,
He's
but
just
look, maybe like you know what they say. Like if he's the only one riding it, he's the only one they're going to develop it too. Do you know what I mean?
riding.
Bastianini was solid around there. Now Bastianini goes well around Kota as well, right? So let's not forget he won there. I think it was
By the
on
way,
the
before I
Gracini
forget,
bike.
one thing that the announcers didn't say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
is in the first sprint race where Bez headed the race down, and he crashed.
Mm-hmm.
His front tire froze. Something was wrong with that bike. He hit that. The nose went down. The back tire went up. Puff of smoke in the front, and the back wheel came off the ground. Something
Yeah. No, Joe, all that was greedy. He was just fucking greedy, like just pure greedy.
You think they could pull that off at that speed and do a stop?
No. You could see when he went in. Yes, he did lock the front, right? That's not. I'm not disagreeing with that, right? But he was going wide, right? All he had to do was sit up slightly. But you could see he tried to bring it in again, and as soon as he went that little bit further with that brake pressure on, it was fucking game over. Like it was just greedy.
Came off the ground, and the front tire let out a puff of smoke. It lost crashing.
Yeah. Well, it locked. It locked when he braked so hard. It locked.
Yeah.
But he was going wide. Like he was never making that apex, right?
No.
And he should have just ran wide, took his medicine for braking too late. Mm-hmm. But he tried to pull it in, and I suppose that was it. I have to say about Agura, right? So there was someone on the channel. I made a comment yesterday on, they were saying that Crayford kind of had it out for Marquez with his pass and whatnot, and when he took Digi out, right? And Aya Agura today is the prime example of how you do that pass, right? Like he leveled him, he let off the brake slightly, but he still made the corner. But the person was saying that Crayford had it out for Mark because Martin and Pecco and stuff like that. Like unfortunately for Mark, when he let off the brake, he was never going to make the corner, and you could see it. That's why Mark crashed. Is that he knew he was running wide, so he pushed the bike down even more to try and make the corner, and then he took your man out. So
yeah.
So just like the penalty, unfortunately, was deserved. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You crashed and you took someone out.
Yeah.
And you were never going to make the corner anyway. Like, do you know what I mean? But yeah, look, I thought the race itself, some like really good performances. Digi felt a little bit robbed for him yesterday in the sprint, but I don't know, could he have survived like Martin in the sprint? Like going with the medium tire, no one else on it, one lap from the end, like he had fucking supreme pace. Like,
but in his situation, nobody had eyes on him anyway. At that point, before that, nobody had eyes on him to win.
No, he wasn't even a shred. It's very funny though. When I look at the season so far, and I know we haven't been on and talked about a lot of thing, but it's amazing that saying that it's such a difference a year makes. Like this time last year, everyone was blowholing that Alex Marquez is the next big thing. Marc Marquez, is back king of the castle, and then this year we're like they're not even in the same league. Do you know what I mean? Like the Aprilia has surpassed. Now I have to say some of the wings look fucking shit still, right? In my own mind, like the fucking wings behind the rider seat. But what I did notice this weekend is Ducati
beauty contest. So
I know. But why did Marco Bezzecchi, without half of the shit on the back of the bike, win today's race?
And I was doing it as they was going down the road. I was thinking you were going to say that. I said he's going to pick that right out.
It's not fucking needed, right? And if it's, I know it's not a beauty race for beauty, but don't have to make it an ugly fucking duckling either. You know what I mean? But saying that, Ducati, I think there's alarm bells ringing in Ducati now. Yes, they're focused on 27, but like another couple of races like this. They're going to be blown out of the water this year. I also noted that they
I think they're just going to get.
They are being blown out of the water.
I think they're going to stable the ship and then go on again.
I don't know. I think maybe Ducati are. I think Ducati thought that they took the best bits from the 24 where they knew they went wrong in the 25, and they took the best bits from that. But like, if they took the best bits from that, Alex Marquez would be performing. He's not. Pecco would be performing. He's not. Fabio Di Giannantonio, he is hit and miss. Do you know what I mean? Like he can qualify it.
He's always been hit and miss, so it's hard to tell.
And Mark isn't the Mark of last year in performance wise. Do you know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
now is that down to the injury? Possibly. But still,
Did he sign yet?
Huh?
Did he sign Mark Marquez?
No. No. Well, look at like the bookies. The bookies' favorite is Pedro Acosta and Marc Marquez Ducati 2027 factory. Tremaine Aldegar is going to VR46, so the two boys in VR46 are fighting for their seat next year. Do you know what I mean? Grassini aren't fucking happy. Alex Marquez is supposed to be going to KTM. So yeah, look, things will be interesting. I actually kind of a little bit amazed that things haven't been started to made public. Like the only one that we really know next year of the ones that are changing or re-signing contracts really is Marco Bezzecchi, who signed his deal. Like, and my understanding is that the Pecco deal is already done.
Yeah, that's the one they say is done. That's
yeah.
Sure.
Now, Jorge Martin must be like fucking antichrist. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, look, saying that, right? It's the bike is right the year that the regulation are changing, right? So, I wouldn't really worry too much. Like,
coming back and biting you in the ass.
Yeah. You know, but look, anyway, it is what it is. Alex Marquez, he's having a bit of a rough time of the season. Do you know what I mean? He got on the GP25. Was it he? Was he 5 or 24 last year? He was 24 last year, wasn't he? Yeah, he was 24. And it's amazing. You make the 2-year jump, and some people really struggle with it. Like, do you remember when we saw this? Like, he went from a 24 to a 26, which is supposed to be very similar. Mm-hmm. Clearly, it's fucking not. Clearly, so like that's the benchmark. But noticeable on the factory Ducati today, they did on Saturday and Sunday. Definitely, they did have it on for the races. They did have the side wings under the seat, and they did run the new wing on the back of the Stegosaurus, where the Stegosaurus things are, which I find very unique that they would, like, they've been running those Stegosauruses ones from 2022. Yes, they changed the variation and the size of them, but they never put a horizontal wing on the back of it. Do you know what I mean? And they have now.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So yes, there is a little bit development, but I wonder, is that for the 2027 bike more so than anything else? You know,
like you say though, has the rear aero really done anything? It's not. It doesn't seem to have.
I can't see it. Some riders say they can feel something. Some say they can't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And
what is
that input? You start to question the whole thing altogether.
Yeah. Like one of the things I look at is the rear damper that they have on the back of the swing arm. I actually thought that was for rear dampening for the whole of the race, but apparently it's actually not. It's only for when the tire is new that it really is really effective. The rest of the time, it's actually not.
Yeah,
which I thought was kind of weird. So it's kind of saying that they haven't fixed last year's problem. Do you know what I mean with the rear of the tire? So,
but you know, like my nephew who does this for aero for a living, and then I heard whispers. It's the ground effects that were always one that was eventually. Everybody kept saying the ground effects will be next. That's where you're going to find the impact. And lo and behold, here goes, People said,
Well, you see a lot of the regulations right now. For this year of MotoGP, there's a lot of blank areas on the bike where is unregulated, right? Which I believe in the 2027 regs is going to be much more curtailed. You know what I mean? So, like, just say for instance, between point A and point B, you can't have aero. It states that you can't have aero. Do you know what I mean? Or you
that's
can't
something
have a
new.
fixed.
It had to be shorter. But I don't think it's not in the field. It didn't affect. It didn't. Apparently, it didn't affect the ground effects. Hold on.
Oh yeah, but like what my point is that like for the 2026 regulations or 27 regulations, sorry,
Podcast. Bye. Bye.
they'll for the 2027 regulations, let's just say the aero, not only is the aero curtailed, but the zones where you can work in the aero. So for example, the rear seat of the aero right now, you can change your aero and it doesn't affect your aero update. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Whereas next year it will, and stuff like that. It is interesting. All right, I've seen a couple of the bikes run, the Honda, the KTM, the Ducati for 27. The other thing now I have to talk about, right, and this kind of puzzles me. Top Rack is the first Yamaha home today.
Yeah. When did he come home? They hate them.
He's 15th. He's the only Yamaha to score a point.
After all the up and down, and he's going to do great, and
I
one
know,
day
I
it's
know.
bad, one day it's good.
The only thing you can measure him against is his peer group, right? He beat Jack Miller, he beat Fabio Quartararo, he beat Alex Rins today.
Right.
And that's the only goal and measurement that you can have for him, right? The Yamaha is like
It's sad. My favorite rider is going on to Honda. Ugh.
I know, yeah, you're gonna have to buy a Honda jersey.
Cold day in hell before I buy that.
You're gonna have to buy a Honda t-shirt. Big I love Honda. Hashtag Fabio
I love
Quartararo.
Honda management. Yeah.
Yeah. But look, I suppose, and I said this about Marquez, right? When he left Honda to go to Ducati, and that, is it abandoning them? Kind of is. Is he let down by what Yamaha have done? Probably big time. I think he was promised that the what we call it, the V4 was going to be bells and whistles and whatever, and it turned out to be a bit of a turd. And look, you were kind of expected to be a bit of a turd. How would I say this? Kind of expected to be a bit of a turd because of it being so new and Yamaha having relatively no experience with it. But then the other side of the coin, right? You get it that Fabio is getting older. Everyone's getting faster.
I don't think that's the case. He's relatively, he's 26 years old, isn't he? Or 25?
He is, but they're coming in now at 21, 22. Like, do you know what I mean? Fucking
right.
Balls to the what? Like,
you rise and you go up in six.
You have Aya Gura, right? Who is definitely one of the future stars. You have Diogo Moreira, definitely a future star. You have Davide Alonso coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Like he'll go toe to toe with Marquez, no problem. Like he will go fairing bashing with Marquez, and it's no problem. We'll just get on with it. You what's his name, Davide Holande or whatever his fucking name. There is 5-6 really young, really fast young fellas coming. Do you know what I mean?
But as far as the body, then the rules.
Oh, his body is fine. His body is fine, but it
goes up in sixes and plateaus at 30, and then down in sixes.
I know, but my point here is that
now the mind's a different state.
Yeah, I think his mind is fine, but he's like if he wants to be a truly like iconic person, Like if he wants to be a Marquez, Rossi, like he needs multiple championships. He's running out of time.
Oh, yeah.
When these young fellas come in, like again, it's going to be the change, like a changing of the guard. Do you know what I mean? A big
Mhm.
time changing of the guard. Like I'm looking at the list here, and I can tell you, like Rins gone, Miller gone,
Yeah.
Morbidelli gone, Binder gone, Marini probably gone. And then you're left with the likes of those yokers. Probably Jorge Martin and Marc Marquez gone. Do you know what I mean? So like there's 7 or 8 seats coming very full, very quickly, and they're all going to be filled with young fellas who are full of piss and vinegar. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ain't afraid of crashing.
That's what I'm saying. Penalties.
Then like it'll come to this. Like, how would I say? Fabio will very quickly become old school. And these young fellas, they're fucking like uber aggressive, and it will be like Fabio will be scared, like Rossi was scared of Marquez, to fight toe to toe with them. Do you know what I mean? So that's the way I see it going. Like when you look at it, like how many more seasons do you think Rins has? None. I think this is his last.
Yeah. He's on board time. He's not going to say how many. He's on board time as it is.
I can see Miller in the factory team next year.
Test rider.
No, I think Miller will be. He'll either stay put or he'll go factory. Now I think they could. Now my what I've heard is that Monster Energy are talking about pulling the contract from Yamaha, and if that's the case, that opens the door for Toprak to go to the factory team, which I think will probably happen. Who were they going to put in that they're like realistically? When you look at Yamaha and the trouble that they're in, I personally think they need a rookie. They don't need an alien anymore. They don't need Fabio Quartararo. They don't. And what I mean by that is not they have so much work to do. They can't get distracted by people whinging. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I was going to say you have to explain that one to me because
Yeah. So like you need a Zarco in there. You need
since he is supposedly he's a pretty good test rider. You know what I mean? He's pretty good. He can sort a bike.
Who? Well, he can, but no one can write the fucking thing like he does. Then.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Then he's gonna have which one called? He's gonna have Marquez syndrome, where he has one person on the bike.
Yeah, exactly, and you can't really have that. Like, you know what I mean? So for me, that's where a lot of problems. So like I think the first 2 years of the 27 or the new regs for 27.
But Miller, I can't see him being any more than a test rider.
I can still see him in either one of those teams. I think he'll get another year out of it. I think they need to get a rookie up into it, a fast rookie that they can hold on to for a couple of years. Toprak would be one, and then they need someone like a Miller, or a Zarco, or someone that can reference the bikes. Do you know what I mean? Because that's the other thing for next year. Like, if we look at Toprak, I don't really expect much out of Toprak till towards the end of the season. There's too much to learn.
On a bike that has to go
that they don't know anything about, realistically, right? So I'm not really worried, let's just say, about Toprak. But I think there's going to be 2 empty seats, in my view, in Yamaha next year. I think Miller and Toprak will stay. there was massive talk about Pecco going to Yamaha, but I think
I think that's done. The Pecco is going to Aprilia.
Aprilia, yeah, but there was massive talk that he was going to Yamaha.
Yeah, for what?
Point. Yeah, but like realistically, Yamaha has become the Aprilia of old. If you remember, like a rider wouldn't go to Aprilia because it was fucking career suicide. did you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, but I reckon
You're saying Yamaha is going to that direction.
Yeah, if I was to put my money on it, like if I was going if you put a gun to my head and said who's going to Yamaha next year, I think there's going to be a rookie. I think it'll be Jack Miller, Toprak, and Elie Bastianini.
And Honda, by the way, seems like they made a step back this year.
Oh, the fucking Honda on the brakes is something savage. Whoa, it's probably second to Aprilia on the brakes.
Okay. So what else?
Traction out of the corner is a problem for them still.
Yeah,
but I think
traction has a problem with him too.
Huh?
Yeah, I think traction also.
I genuinely think though, and I'll be honest, Mir has impressed me this year, even with crashing. Right, I would prefer to be running in second or third place or up into the top 5 or early top 5 and crash.
Right, I thought the same thing. That's
10th place.
It's one of his strongest years. Even though he's been crashing, he's been throwing balls at the wall.
Yep, and you can't ask for more than like over 50% of Mir's races since he's joined Honda, he's crashed it.
Yeah, but you can see the bike all over the place, bud.
It is, but he's able to.
It's back to he's the only he's like it was before.
Okay, let's put it this way. You look at Honda, right? They have a rookie.
No, they added power to it. You know when you add
power. I know, but they have a rookie, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have Johan Zarco, who seems somewhat checked out this year. Doesn't seem to be at the fucking races at all. Mindset for me doesn't seem. Luca Marini doesn't seem to be there either. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I look at it, I'm seeing the only one that's actually going balls to the fucking wall is Mir.
Mm-hmm.
So I would actually kind of push it in the way that is he the only one that's actually able to push it to get the limit out of it, or the boy's going 90% and he's going 100%? Do you know what I mean? So I would actually question.
Everybody used to give Honda hell for being slow and dividing needed horsepower when they were all over the place. I said, well, that's actually a smart idea because you get the handling straightened out, okay? Then you add the horsepower to it because the more horsepower you add to it, the worse it handles.
Yeah.
They're going back to it, but now since they went back to give it more horsepower, and it just keeps coming apart.
Well, you see, they can't give it more horsepower, really. Do you know what I mean? Because they can't develop the engine now throughout the year, right? So they're only changing. They're changing electronics, really, is what they're doing, right? And like I don't think there's any issue with any bike in that grid with horsepower, right? I think they're all in and around the same. I think the problem for everyone there is getting that power to the ground.
I know everybody's talking about the Aprilia having all this horsepower. I can see it. It looks like it's
all electronic.
Yeah.
So they're in the engine freeze from 2025.
Yeah.
So it's not a new engine.
No, it's not. So it has to be.
It's electronics.
Yeah.
And mechanical grip.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that they've done. And
I don't think Honda has the engineering to pull that out of the hat.
Well, a lot of the Honda team now, the thing are European, right? So remember, like, let's not. What's his name? What's his name?
Have they bought more? Because I know they were.
I know it'll be in Euro. Yeah, but remember they took
so long.
They took the Aprilia number 2 over there, right? So look, I'll be honest. So far this season, what I've seen from Mir, I've been really impressed with. I think I really like You know, like even yesterday, yeah, he crashed with 1 lap to go, but he was up in the skinny places and he crashed. Like you're just like fucking fair play to you, kid. Do you know what I mean? Like
What I'm saying is that's because of Mir.
oh
That's not
yeah,
because of Honda.
but I do think that that's the truth. But that's what I was saying, right? I personally think that Luca Marini and Zarco are half checked out. Like they're not pushing 110% like Mir is. They're pushing into the 90s. They're safe. Do you know what I mean? And like I think Zarco. Let's be fair. Zarco is at the end of his career. Do you know what I mean? I would be very surprised. Do you know what I mean? No rider at the end of their career is going 100%. They might do it for the last race, but they're not doing it. They're not doing it week in, week out. So
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not a test rider now. To be honest with you.
Yeah, for me now, Daguerre, you know, I think he's had 2 really good races as well. You know, like remember, like he cracked his femur, you know, and he's back. So, like for me, look, I think there's a lot going on. The other thing that was noticeable is HBO Max has launched over here. And do you remember when I said it last year that they're going to be adding more features and all of this? You can, if you have HBO Max with TNT Sports and that over here, you can now go on, you can watch the main race. You can go on board with your favorite rider. You can split the screen and you can go on board with your favorite rider, but also watch the race from the helicopter. There's all these features coming in, which is definitely Liberty Media's input. So I think, you know, I think for the fans at home, I think there's only a couple more years left on the MotoGP app. Or what is it? The timing things, or what I mean? Well, I think it'll still stay, but I think they'll commercialize it more. They'll be building the rights. Like you see an awful lot of the stuff changing into the same sort of routine as Formula One. Like all the riders standing around in a U shape for the national anthem and all of this. So it is it's more and more getting like Formula One, falling into under the same structure, how they operate. And I think it will be very interesting to see in the next 12 to 18 months how the relationship, because look, like realistically, Old Man Dorna is gone. You know, like really, while it hasn't been announced that his power is being stripped, getting rid of the Dorna name from the owning of it now. What is it now? The MotoGP something. That's the first sign of getting rid of all the old legacy stuff there. So Old Man Dorna, I'd say this is probably his last year of being boss, and then they'll bring in someone to run it, and then they'll separate out the FIM from the Liberty Media Group. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
And then it'll just become a business, and then for us diehard fans, the extra pomp and ceremony and shit, and you know, they're like, oh my god, it is a motorcycle that goes around a corner, and you're like, fucking love it, you know? Oh my god, man, it's someone really touched his elbow off the ground. It's like, will you shut up the fuck? Like,
let's compare it to the speed of a baseball. Oh, who thought this one up?
Yeah.
I can give a rat's ass how much close a baseball comes to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Does Michael Schumacher race MotoGP?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, fuck's sake, do you know what I mean? But yeah. But look, that's all kind of common, and it's good, I suppose, for the sport, because it brings it to more people. Baggers also. Did you watch the Baggers?
Of course I watched the Baggers. Folks, for all the old timers or the kid, you know, this is for the new guys coming into the sport. When you hear the old timers saying, oh, this is, you know, the old days and this and that, and it was great. Baggers is the old days, okay? That's as good as it got, all right? The old days were overrated.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. The bag, like I like the baggers because they're just a big lump of fucking metal, like that. No one says that. For me, that someone says, "What are you gonna do? What are we gonna do for a laugh?" And we're like, "Let's race a
Don't
Harley
forget,
with the."
I was gonna start that series up before, and then I got hurt.
Yeah, yeah. It's
I
just
was gonna
like,
have it differently, but I was gonna have it in NASCAR, when the in with the NASCAR races, in with the on the big ovals, right?
yeah,
Have it. All of them have 200 some horsepower with turbocharging, and put 10 like a 10 identical bikes. Okay,
yeah,
big
yeah,
stackers with a bunch of horsepower, and everybody starts the same, and everybody's going to end up finishing the same.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
If you just have an oval, okay, it makes it into one long straight because you don't have to
yeah,
back off in the corner. When you go, you're just going to hit oval, hit
yeah, yeah,
banking, hit banking, and we're all doing the same thing. So it comes
yeah,
down to who has the biggest balls at the end. Them
yeah.
hillbillies would love that.
Yeah, they would, but like, I think one bike goes down, all 10 of them are dead. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, 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 yeah. One of them goes down. Yeah, I don't know. Did you see the incident in the Moto 2 race? Where like
No.
it was just like fucking Skittles, like, you know what I mean? It was just like, and I hope everyone is all right. I think two people were taken or were going for medical assessment or whatnot. But yeah, it's like look, it is good racing, and like, you know, you can see Moto 2. Uh, Moto 2 is starting to get a hotbed now of technology, right? And I wonder what they're going to start doing. Like, you can see in Moto 2, for example, they're already really working the aerodynamics now. Like, you know what I mean? They're already starting on ground effect and all of this. And you're just like, for fuck's sake, like, you know what I mean? This is supposed to be for young fellas to learn their fucking craft, like, you know what I mean? And
Well,
now you're.
good. If they go to take it away from one, they got to give it to the other. I want to
I
see
know
some.
that, but
I want to see some new innovation.
yeah, for a one make championship, it doesn't. No, like, well, it's not one make.
Yeah,
There's
that's
a
too
one
bad.
engine.
If they, like I said, I always say, this all should be in MotoGP, and then leave the Moto 2 to where it is for young. You know what I mean?
But yeah, like for me, when you look at it, right, you start putting on this fucking ground effect fairing. You take a fairing that was $300, and now you're making a fucking 30 grand. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
just silly
that's
money.
fine for MotoGP though.
Also,
That's
MotoGP is fine. That's like, I don't like. I'm not a like. I actually think, like, even I was watching World Superbikes today on mute because I can't listen to James Tosland, as you know. Um, and you know, the new Ducati. Just
Mhm.
looking at it now, it's like the front wings on it, I think, look very nice compared to the Bimota ones that look like someone's like, oh fuck, we need to put on a wing on this. You know what I mean? It's like, there's just,
It's a
what
pretty
have you
bike.
out,
The Moto's a pretty bike though.
except for the front wing. The front wing is like
I can't see it in my head right now.
it's like an afterthought that someone said, we need to put a front wing on it. And it's like, Danjo, do you have something out the back there in the shed? And he's like, oh, well, I kind of have this. Like, yeah, we'll find a way to bolt that on.
That is when we questioning, because that's the Moto is the one that has the active arrow. It moves.
It moves, yeah, but it just looks very rudimentary. When you look at it compared to the Ducati one, where it's kind of shaped and it's
Yeah.
blended into the thing, and then it has the downward ducks on the new Ducati as well. I just thought it's interesting. The Aprilia ducting system. We really need an Aprilia to crash properly,
We can see inside it.
so we can see inside them and find out exactly where it is. Because, like, I can't. It's not that I can't figure it out, right? But I still can't understand where you would energize down the straight. Like, what are you trying to stall? Like there's all these rumors that they're trying to stall the ground or the ground effect on the side, and I'm like going, but that doesn't make sense. Like, do you know what I mean? Because the problem is already ahead of where it is now. Maybe it is blowing air back out to push it around it. But I can't see a vortex being created through that. Possibly there is, but there's not enough space. Does that make sense?
I understand. There's not enough space for it to gain momentum to get
the vortex to come.
Yeah.
Like what I was initially thinking is like it
not
comes
going to get
across.
enough momentum to start kicking in. So it might kick in, but it's going to be this straight's almost over.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like even by the time that so I don't know what it's doing. Like the rider goes into the tuck position, blocks the gap. For me, that's actually creating drag. Did you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless they're trying to create some sort of low pressure somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? Maybe behind the front wing or something. I don't know. And I've asked a good few people, and it doesn't make sense to them either, unless it is something to do with actually driving air into a certain area of the bike for cooling when it's on the straight.
You gotta love Aprilia anyway for such a little company that does such strong engineering. I love that.
They're a little very well funded company. Do you know what I mean? Like they can run and they can do all of this development without a title sponsor, right? Which means is that a lot of this is self-funded by its parent group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now it's fine right now. They're winning,
right?
Do you know what I mean? But like come into next year, I think it'll still be fine because of this year and last year. But I still can't understand how they don't have a title sponsor. And it's not for the lack of trying. Like Rivola has been trying to get one.
I don't know. I don't know if he's really been trying that much.
Well, when he calls himself out publicly for not getting one, he must have tried. You know what I mean? But anyway, so I know you heard her there. I think, yeah.
You there?
A couple of weeks. Yeah. We've no race now for another couple of weeks because Qatar's been moved to towards the end of the season.
I hope it gets warm in a couple of weeks. Jesus Christ! I don't know about you, but it's been freezing here. We haven't gotten above. It's been 50 degrees max.
Well, I can tell you this, right, and this is no word of a lie. In Ireland, from the 1st of January to, I'd say, the middle of March, it rained every single day. Then we got 2 or 3 days with no rain. And then it went back to raining.
Yeah, we had a ton of rain here too. But not that much. But
every single day.
It's freezing. It's like, God damn.
Yeah. So obviously with what's going on in the Middle East, there's no race there, obviously, which makes sense. So I think we have a 3-week break. But look, there's still so much that we need to go through and talk about that we will catch up in the podcasts over the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks before the race.
I should buy another bike if I didn't say it. Did I say it the last day, right?
No, you didn't. No, you were no.
No, I got a MV Augusta, a new MV Augusta Brutality RS 1000. The bike's like 30,000. I bought it for 18. I couldn't build the steel was so good. And it got that bike is best in class, 208 horsepower, unbelievable.
I still can't understand how they're flogging the bikes over there so cheap.
Or what? Oh, in the United States or what?
Yeah.
Not me. I mean, the word is everybody. All I hear is how expensive it is over in England and Ireland, especially.
Yeah. Oh, they like to tax us.
Scotland.
They like it. Scotland, Ireland. Well, I'll put it to you this now. This way, right? Well, what's going on at the moment, right? I was driving down by Waterford last Tuesday, and I passed a petrol station, and a litre of diesel, 1 litre, was €2.38, so about $3 a litre. Now, what's the US liters what's liters to gallon there?
It's really well, it went up, so it's like $3.50 a gallon. So
Yeah, 1 second. US liters to gallon.
Christ, it's almost half.
1 second.
And how much do you burn? I mean, but when you go riding, how much gas do you burn? I mean,
it's not rating. It's just so 1 US gallon is the equivalent to approximately 3.75 liters, right? So now we're just talking about the expense of living in Ireland. So 2.38 multiplied by, let's just say 3.7 is $8 a gallon.
Phew.
No, sorry, that's €8 a gallon. So that's about $10 a gallon.
Yeah.
now fucking complain.
Yeah. And folks, 2 alerts. You know, KTM got to get back on they got to get on the ball with getting these bikes that aren't coming apart. I give Japanese hell, but I'm going to give KTM hell too. These, you know, I'm hearing more and more about these. And it's all bad metal deals. You know, the weak metal.
Oh, in the real world, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Honda has that their new economy models, the Hornets. They're burning oil. You know, they say check the oil between 300 and 1,000 kilometers. You'll be out of oil.
Fuck.
That's a lot of oil. They don't know. They don't have that. They don't know how to fix it yet. You're saying it's inherent.
Well, that sounds inherent if it's that much. Like, you know what I mean? You'd expect a little bit of burn, but that's something seriously flawed there in that. Yeah. So look. Anyway, we'll be back. I think we'll come back again and we'll talk news for next week. There's a few bits I want to go through that have come up that probably people don't yet know about or might not yet know about. But look, we'll save that for next week. We have been blessed that we've had two races on the bounce, but now we're going to starve for 3 weeks with no racing, or 3 or 4 weeks or whatever it is. But look, it is what it is. The world is doing what it's doing.
I just want to see make sure Marquez does not sign with Honda. That would piss me off the other end.
I don't think he will. I think, if I'm honest, I think the deal is done. But I just think, look, I think Mark is just being Mark as well. Do you know what I mean? Or like as soon as he announces that really starts all the dominoes falling. It's interesting, all right, though, that Crafer, who I have a lot of time for, is getting quite strict with the riders. Do you know what I mean? He's definitely putting a bit of how would we say, manners on them, no matter who you were. So it is good to see. And he's consistent across Moto 3, Moto 2, and all of those as well. So now, I know there's going to be some fucking anorak fella out there saying, well, Simon doesn't actually do Moto 2. Simon is the chief of the lot of them. So his team of stewards or whatever would be working under his guidance. Do you know what I mean? So if he's saying, I want to focus on just say dangerous moves or this, that, and the other. He's trying to bring consistency to them, but it is interesting, and like I think what didn't annoy me, but like people were calling Simon out yesterday for what he did with Mark. But I think at the end of the day, I think he's been consistent. Do you know what I
He
mean?
has been consistent. He has been doing a good job.
So yeah, I just want to put it on the record that I don't think Simon is being biased about anyone, but like he did give us great insight into how Mark is. Do you know what I mean? And I suppose how he deals with them. Like he will deal with it fairly and objectively. Don't think he has. I think he looks at it. In my own view, I think he looks at it both in a rule-making situation, but also from a rider's point of view. Also, I thought it was very nice at today's Grand Prix. I don't know, did you see it? It's 20th anniversary of Nicky Hayden winning the championship. Repsol on the bike on the grid. A lot of pictures of Nicky around the circuit as well. So it's good to see him. But and remember him on that. But anyway, I suppose Jakey Poo on that bombshell. I need to go to bed because damn US racing has a.
Yeah, we thought he he has my world where he has to stay up all night.
That's it. Yeah, but yeah. So on that bombshell, we'll end up today's session, and we'll be back again next week for sure.